All right. It seems really quiet in here. Could everybody just give me a round of applause to cheer me on? Thanks. I'm not nearly as intoxicated as I usually am for this experience. You're welcome. First things first, I was one of those kids in high school who was really smart, you know, like so smart that I'd look around and be like, oh, that bitch is so dumb. She's not going to do anything but go to beauty school. That's right, real full of myself. So much so that once I got my degree in acting, which has actually served me well in this moment, I then went to beauty school. Yes. So now I have somewhere between 300 and 400 bosses, give or take a few. Now, not all of you are bossy, not all of you are horrible, but you do all ask me to do a job for you. And while, you know, that's really nice that you guys trust me with your fragile egos and your vanity, just think, I have to coddle all of those, somewhere between 7 to 15 of those every single day. Just imagine the pressure. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm sort of like a used up paper towel. That's right. And you know, it's not always hair either. Some of you bring me your shit, or what you perceive as real life shit, you know, and sometimes you toss that shit at me. And you might wonder what I do with all of this shit. Sorry, Haley. Before we get into all of that, you should all know that I actually think that I'm a really big deal. I don't take any new clients. I mean, unless, of course, you beg me or you bribe me, okay? And that's serious stuff because most of you out there probably know Greta, and Greta, to bribe me to become my client, she brought me homemade syrups and what are those things with vinegar, shrubs, and handmade liquor. She brought those to me to become my client. So just consider, if you want to be my client, what you need to bring to the table. Okay? And it was the best decision I ever made, bringing her on as a client, because now she also works for me. Keep in mind also that I do not take applications for this job. Now, I've gone through a number of assistants. In fact, there might be some of the dregs out here in the audience right now, maybe worked for me for like a month or so, just about as long as you could possibly handle me. You know, most of us are all still friends and everything, and it's really great, but you do have to field me all day, every day. I need to love you, and you need to love me, because just think about, you get to see me at my most vulnerable, all right? I'm telling the same stories all day to every single person. You can't get bored with me. You need to constantly just be enthralled and think I'm amazing. Thank you. Now consider that all of my assistants have been blonde. Now, I didn't even realize that until very recently when Amber, our fearless leader, pointed it out to me, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is true. So much so, I'm so into blondes that I went blonde about a year ago, and I haven't looked back. I'm sort of like a middle-aged man. I like to keep the real blonde, real hot little ladies close to me so I can tease and torment them. Yes, so now you wonder what I do with all of this shit. Just take a moment, though, and think about this. I'm an only child. That's right. I have a lot of little picadillos, okay? Number one, do not put your purse on the floor. Why? Because of germs. Really, it's like an old wives' tale about inviting poverty, but really, germs, okay? That's right. Now, also don't slam cabinets or doors or anything. I don't like loud noises. Now, I have been diagnosed with ADD, ADHD, but I have not been put on the spectrum. I should have been, though, I'm sure, because loud noises make me want to rock myself, and I don't like it very much. Also, if you work for me and you call someone, don't say, hello, is this so-and-so? Oh, yes, it is. It's a cell phone. It's their cell number. Of course it's them. Don't ask them that. They're going to think you're a telemarketer. God. Also, I have a lot of food allergies, okay, like at least 1 million. So you need to learn them, live them, double check my food them. I also have this really bad habit of online shopping for shoes. And I'm like a half size thing, like one's bigger than the other. And so you have to understand that like this means a lot of returns to the UPS store. For Greta, she's a regular. She absolutely hates me. It's a thing. Now, I also have like mood swings that are sort of like a prepubescent adolescent, okay? So like if it's a bad day, I might treat you really terribly. I might scrub your scalp too hard. You might cry a little, you might cringe. Generally, I try to pay attention to what's going on with your face, but I might not, okay? If it's a good day, I might fluff you a lot. I might butter you up. Things might be really great, you know? Maybe you should trust me, maybe you shouldn't. I don't really know. I have a few clients that have seen me cry. Some of you have seen me cry more than once. I'd like to say I'm sorry for that, but it'll probably happen again. And if I don't say anything to you, that's actually the most dangerous thing. I'm not going to tell you what that means. Just ponder it for a while. Okay? Now, 3 of the most amazing and most standout of my assistants go a little something like this. First of all, there's Greta, okay? And now I'm not sure if all of you know her, which I just made an assumption because she is an actual real life saint. Greta P. Allendorf, saint, okay? They're literally going to start making necklaces and coins and stuff. I've already talked to the Pope about it. It's real, all right? Okay, and then there is Megan Meggers James. Now I'm going to refer to her as Meggers from here on out. Just keep that in mind, okay? Now she's a member of this troupe. Actually, she's not telling a story tonight because I told her that I would actually kill her if she got up here and told a story about me. That's right. But she's a saint too, you know, in a sort of like Rock of Love Bus blonde kind of saint. You know, maybe she like wears rip out hoops so that she can kick your ass kind of saint. Like a pit bull with a heart of gold. And then there's Carson. Now Carson was the very beginning. There were all those like, you know, month-long ones there in the middle. But Carson's sort of like my ride or die, do anything for you because she was a little too young to know any better at the time. She really just needed a job or a direction or maybe a smoking buddy kind of saint. So the beginning of the end for Megan Meggers, here's where we get down to the nitty gritty, you guys. Are you ready? Okay. So I think it must have been PMSing one day. And Megan came in and now keep in mind that she actually worked a full-time job as a pre-K teacher while she also left that job and came to basically cater to me for a couple of hours every single day. She's a saint, remember? Okay, so she comes in one day and I'm PMSing and I'm like, listen, Meggers, I'm just gonna die if I don't get one of those Mexican Cokes. And so I like send her, I'm like, go to IGA, I told her where they were, just get me one of those Mexican Cokes, I need it. Like oh my God, I just need it. And so she leaves and she comes back and she brings me literally one of those glass bottles, looks like a Mexican Coke, but it says on it actually Mexican Cola. I looked at it, I was like, what is this? What is this? And she just looked at me, I was like, you don't know what Mexican Coke is? I mean, it's like Coca-Cola, but it's just like Mexican because it's like got the pure cane sugar in it. And while I'm ranting and raving about this whole thing, she just turns on her foot and just slowly walks out the door as I'm like raging at her for basically going out of her way to accommodate me. And then I realized how terrible I was. And the next day she came in and she sat down with me and she took my hand in both of hers and she looked deep into my eyes and she said, I want to always love you. It's time for you to find new help. Lucky for me, I had already brought Greta on as a client and she, you know, needed a third job for some reason. And I was like, hey girl, my girl Meggers can't take me anymore. Do you think you can handle this? And she was like, sure thing, babe, I'll do it. So Megan goes on her way probably to a much healthier and happier lifestyle. She's now married and about to have a child, which obviously I did not facilitate, okay? So Greta starts to work for me. And now this story literally happened a couple of weeks ago, okay? Now keep in mind, you guys, that I think I'm a really big deal, okay? All right, so this woman walks in, Greta's sitting at the front desk, and this woman walks in, she's like, hey, are you Sunshine? I'm like, no, I'm Sunshine, can I help you with something? And she's like, well, my name is Jean. That's not her real name, keep that in mind. And like, I've been trying to get in with you forever, and so like, I thought maybe if I just like stopped by, like maybe, oh my God, that would work, and like, or maybe you're just taking new clients right now, or something like that. And I'm like, listen, lady, I am really busy, and I can't take on any new clients right now because Greta won't let me. As Greta just sits there and like smiles and nods at her, right, because she's saintly. And I was like, so maybe just like give us your name and telephone number, and maybe you'll get lucky, you know, maybe you'll get in. And she's like, okay, and she leaves her name, her full name, and her telephone number with us, and she heads on her way. And Greta and I, of course, like talk about her a little bit. I'm like, yeah, she didn't seem that terrible, and we stalk her on Facebook, but she's not stalkable. Her name, she's not on Facebook. I'm like, well, shit, okay, well, whatever. So the next day comes along, and Greta's like, you know, your next week is kind of strange. I've got this opening. Why don't I just call that Jean lady and see if she'd like to come in? And I'm like, all right, sweet, that sounds great. You're the boss, Greta, do it. So Greta puts her phone number into the phone. Her phone number was already in the phone. Do you know what it was labeled under? Crazy Pants. Bullet dodged, okay? So we're like, wait a second, who's this lady? Let's try to figure this out. And so we like go back and we remember, okay, this lady has a kid at the Montessori school, and apparently she really loved her Montessori, her child's teacher's hair, and asked her about me, and she was like, yeah, well, she doesn't take new clients. And so what we did is we called our friend that's the Montessori school teacher, and we're like, hey, what about this lady? Should we take her? She's like, oh my God, don't take her, she's crazy. And we're like, okay, and we really legitimized that moment after we see Crazy Pants. We go back and look at the text messages in the phone from her, okay? And like every 2 hours she sends this message, she's like, hey, I was just wondering if Sun could do my hair. Hey, I was just wondering, like, I was just calling to see if maybe like Sun had some availability. Side note, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Sunshine. My actual real name, my hippie ass parents gave it to me, okay? So, like the people that are really close in my life, all of those people, they can call me Shine. Now, if you call me Shine and you shouldn't call me Shine, I can actually tell by the sound of your voice when it comes out of your mouth that you're like, oh shit, can I do this? No, you shouldn't. If you wonder, don't, okay? And now everybody that ever played intramural soccer with, Rainey Wilcox, Jennifer Esty, and Jade Howard, those people call me Sunny. But outside of that, no one else. And no one calls me Sun. No one. At least not to my face, okay? So when we saw that, Greta looked at me and she was like, this bitch ain't getting nowhere. I was like, that's right! That is right. And she knew it too because she gave us a fake name when she came in. Ooh. All right. Now I feel like I've let you guys in on enough about me to understand what a pain in the tuchus I can really be. But I'd also like for you all to keep in mind that Carson and Megan Meggers and Greta P. Allendorf are all three of my very closest friends. To this day, I would lay down in the road for one of those ladies, and they would do the same for me, I think. I know, only one of them's in the audience. We'll see what she says later. Yeah, she is wearing a shirt with my face on it, though. Keep that in mind. Yes, winning. So, on that note, I just want you all to know that I feel like it's my job here on this planet to bestow my golden nuggets of wisdom upon all of the egos that have given themselves over to me, you know? And obviously you realize that possibly I think I've got the biggest ego of all, or I actually have actually have one. I mean, why else do you think I'm standing up here just like talking about myself and waiting for you to laugh at me and how amazing I am? That's what's more. Thank you. Good grief. But the real truth is that it makes me happy every day knowing that each person who walks in the door walks out the door happier after I've touched them. even if I fucking hate them.